James Gunn's Lanterns has right-wingers as the villains? I am shocked. Surprise, surprise, new details from a reported Lanterns teaser screening are raising eyebrows and reinforcing concerns surrounding James Gunn's woke DCU, which leans heavily into divisive political territory. According to a description shared by someone who attended a recent event in Mexico City, the HBO series positions its villains as right-wing extremists. Hey, look. It's Green Lantern ring. Per the recent teaser, the footage is described as very grounded and realistic, closer in tone to True Detective Season number 2 than a traditional superhero series. Lanterns is also being compared to HBO's Watchmen. Oh, no, you don't want to do that. Which was also developed by Damon Lindelof. The comparison appears intentional, signaling a serious, it was garbage, absolute garbage, gritty approach marked by heavy atmosphere and subdued pacing. Visually, the show reportedly looks unreal in a good way, with dense photography and a bleak, realistic aesthetic reminiscent of Mayor of Easttown? Huh? But while the production quality sounds high, the thematic direction is where controversy starts. One of the most discussed elements is Hal Jordan's Green Lantern suit, which is said to be fully practical and highly detailed. Black, green, and white. With gold accents? Yeah, you're not supposed to. No, you don't have that in there. Anyway, described as medieval and strange, intentionally unlike past comic or film designs. Oh, jeez. Medieval, it sounds more like the Kingdom Come suit that Green Lantern wore in that comic book series. Anyway, the suit reportedly incorporates what looks like an actual medieval breastplate. Okay, yeah. Along with hanging leather jackets and gear stored in Hal's closet. Okay. When he finally appears, he does so wearing a mask, further emphasizing the grounded, almost law enforcement aesthetic. Why would that emphasize law enforcement? I mean that's the mask. Is it like that, or is it like a SWAT team fully covered mask? I don't know. Notably, there is very little ring usage shown in the footage, probably because there isn't a whole lot in the whole show, suggesting the show may downplay classic Green Lantern constructs in favor of realism. Hal's suit is also compared to an alternate Injustice suit, so more like this. That's why I picked that's the Injustice. So a big clunky armored suit, probably, I guess. The biggest talking point comes from the villains. The antagonists are reportedly teased as right-wing extremists, described as abandoned and radicalized. So what? They're a bunch of groypers and all that, I guess. When asked whether characters like Atrocitus or Black Hand were involved, the response suggested the closest visual comparison was cemetery imagery, not cosmic threats. Now, I guess with Black Hand already being involved with, the black rings and bringing back the dead with it and all that sort of stuff, it's not what he was originally, but it's what he became in Blackest Night event. So maybe one of them becomes Black Hand and he's able to use the dead as his Black Lanterns against the Green Lanterns. Yeah, might be that. For critics of Gunn's DCU, this reinforces a growing belief that political messaging is being prioritized over classic DC mythology. Worth a mention is that Tom King also developed. Yeah, that's all Tom King does. That's all Damon Lindelof does anymore because they got nothing else. So they keep, in whatever reason they fall for this, why Damon Lindelof, after what he did with Watchmen, is certainly allowed against anything, but on board a DC property is insane. And once again, I'm going to rip off, True Detective and stuff like that with some special effects here and there with, Green Lantern stuff. And that's about it. And the rest of it, to cover up the gaping holes in it and my lack of ability to have a entertaining narrative, is to paste it over with messaging about white supremacy and stuff like that. I don't know. There might be a little more to this, so it won't be as bad as his Watchmen. But man, was that crap. Of course, the conservatives were also responsible for outing Gunn's disturbing tweets that led to his firing by Disney years ago. Yeah, outing them? They were public. He put them out there. Yeah. And he's the one guy. A lot of people who would get canceled, they stayed canceled for a long time. Gunn immediately got a new job over at Warner Brothers. So, shut up. The teaser reportedly hints that Jon Stewart cannot become a Green Lantern unless Hal Jordan hands down the role, leading to speculation that there may only be one ring between the two characters. That's a significant departure from established lore and possibly backing up claims that Hal dies, which would pass the ring to Jon. Yes. Yeah, that's not how that works. Having the one ring to green them all between the two would obviously also save on visual effects costs. Kyle Chandler's Hal Jordan is said to deliver a strong performance. Yeah, solid actor. I'm sure the actors will all will do a good job. But they'll just end up being good talents wasted on crap product. But the structure raises questions about how much room the series leaves for other lanterns to grow. More rumors below. Take these with a grain of salt, but additional rumors have also said the younger Jon Stewart falls in love with the older Zoe, Purna Jagannathan. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong. Anyway, and that her husband is a white conservative. Oh, no, which fits with the new rumors above. So the white supremacist married a woman of color. Yeah, that makes sense. There are also claims that the reason Hal and Jon show up in the heartland of America is to investigate the death of Green Lantern Alan Scott, another departure from established lore. Well, within the past decade, DC Comics changed. Decade? This is pretty recent. They just suddenly magically made him gay. Despite the fact that he fathered two children for decades. He's the original Green Lantern. I mean, this goes back to the 40s. And all of a sudden, his son came out as gay, and that was well established. Then they did an alternate Earth version of him that was gay. Not good enough, so they just suddenly decided magically he's gay now. Not only that, they did a whole series on him about being gay, going to the docks and soliciting gay prostitutes. Oh, great stuff. So what happens to a gay man in the heartland of America surrounded by right-wing extremists? Can you guess? Can you guess? Yeah. We can also add that Alan Scott may have retired and handed his ring down to Hal. So Abin Sur completely erased. Might as well, because Hal Jordan isn't going to last much longer either. So now, per the leaks, Hal is supposed to retire and hand down his ring to John. Also recall, Gunn took shots at America in Peacemaker with comparisons to Nazis. Yeah. Adding to the grounded and arguably provocative tone, the teaser features Highway Patrolman by Bruce Springsteen, a known left-wing figure, further aligning the series with law enforcement imagery and real-world themes rather than cosmic adventure. Well, yeah, that's well known that it, to go on the cheap, they weren't going to be able to do this in space. For a long time, there were rumors about a Green Lantern feature film that would be a handing of the torch to Jon Stewart from Hal Jordan. It was rumored that Tom Cruise would be playing Hal Jordan, and ultimately that's how it would end. Either Hal Jordan would die and Jon Stewart would carry on, and it would be this buddy cop scenario, but it was going to be, in outer space and that sort of thing, not in some small town. And then he would go on to be the Green Lantern of the DCEU, show up in Snyder's Justice League films, I assume, and that sort of thing. But, it didn't get around to it. But the template, still there, and it just going to dust that off, repurpose it in this story, and slap on whatever this murder mystery is. And that it's a bunch of white supremacists who don't realize they're actually a pawn of some ancient evil force. But they found out Alan Scott's gay, so they kill him. And Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart come to investigate the murder and uncover the ancient evil force. But anyway, the plot to get rid of Hal Jordan so you can just have Jon Stewart stays in place, and that's what they'll do. Yeah. Nobody has any more stomach for this crap. I mean, look at Pacemaker season 2. We had, people who love Jesus are Nazis, That's practically what you did in that show. You're nuts and stupid. Oh, well. Hey, maybe they'll figure it out and cut that crap out. Maybe that's why the show was delayed. It was supposed to come out before Supergirl. Now it's going to have to come out after it. Maybe they're going to try to, polish the turd. And maybe it'll shine. And shine green. Yeah. Maybe. Who are we kidding? Yeah.